Hi, and welcome to our first episode of Monkey Box. I'm your host, James.
And I'm Jing-Chen.
Today we'll be looking at whether a single-wheel flywheel or a double-wheel flywheel best centers the ball.
This is relevant to the 2016 FIRST Robotics competition, FIRST Stronghold, because in this game we had to take 10-inch balls like this, foam balls, and shoot them into a high goal accurately.
So, Jing-Chen, what would a typical shooter that would shoot these kind of balls look like?
Well, I actually have an example of one here.
Okay.
This is the shooter our team used for the 2016 competition season. And this shooter has two main components. There's the shooter flywheel down here that can spin, and the shooter backing back here that serves to support the ball when it's in the shooter.
Okay, and the ball will go in somewhere like this?
Yeah, it's precisely like this. The ball travels along the middle of our shooter, and when we need to shoot the ball, all that our shooter has to do is just spin this roller, and it will eject the ball at high speed.
Okay. So I understand there's got to be other types of shooters, and why don't you go ahead and describe some other ones that you considered?
Yeah, so over the years, our team has built different kinds of shooters, not just shooters like this with a flat roller as a ejector, but also like shooters with just one big wheel in the middle of the shooter to shoot the ball with, or shooters with two wheels in the middle, two separate wheels to shoot the ball with.
So how do you go about testing these rollers and figuring out which one centers the ball?
Well, I built a model out of Legos, as I have here, that can be used to test whether or not a roller will center the ball, or if the ball will actually fall off the roller and decenter itself. Now, how this model works is you just put a ball in, and then when it runs, you can see that the center spins, just like a flywheel would on a shooter, and this outside green part is like our shooter backing that holds the ball in place while we can see what's going on with the ball.
Okay, and the ball here would be that 10-inch one we saw earlier, kind of a mock-up of it. Okay, so why don't we go to a close-up and look at the tests that you did and come to some results.
Sure.
All right, so now let's look at the test using a single roller as a flywheel.
So right now, the ball is stuck on one corner of the wheel.
So let's go ahead and run it and see what happens. So wow, from what it looks like, the ball seems to be moving towards the center. And now after a couple rotations, if we go ahead and stop it, the ball appears to be in the middle of the roller, even though it started out off to the side.
Yes, seems like this roller has successfully centered the ball just by spinning.
Now this is a test of a crown roller, which is basically a flat roller, and if we built up the middle with tape or something, we would get a crown roller. And in this test, we start off the ball off to the side.
Yeah. So let's just run the test.
So after a couple rotations, looks like the ball has actually centered onto the top. As you can see, the gray gear in the middle, that's where the ball is it's in the middle right now. So if we run the tape,
I can slide the paper in front of the ball, and also I can slide the paper behind the ball.
So now as a third test, let's go ahead and test the two-wheeled flywheel. And we're starting out in the ball in the center of the two. So now let's go ahead and run this and see what happens. Okay, so after a couple of rotations, we see pretty quickly that the ball has now shifted over onto one of the wheels.
As you can see, I can now slide the piece of paper underneath just the first wheel, and it's being supported fully by only the second wheel.
In summary, we conclude that the single-wheeled flywheel will center the ball, the two-wheeled flywheel will push the ball away from the center, and for the flat roller, we can make it like the single-wheeled flywheel by building a crown in the middle or a high point in the middle. So that's it, and thanks Jing-Chen for creating this contraption. I guess we all learned something about which one of these flywheels centers a ball.
Yeah.
And that's the end of our first episode.